Okay, Valerie, I think we are good to go. The rooms are open now, so people are just, I'll keep getting people in. So over to you, Valerie and Brian. I'm just going to start live streaming this as well on Facebook and YouTube.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are just going to allocate 5 to 7 minutes for everyone else to join, and then we shall start. Let me see. Yes, but as we wait, I'm going to attach the links to our social media pages in the chat section so that you can see what we are doing in and around 4040, so that you can also support us.
So this is the 4040 Hangout, yeah?
It is, yes.
Oh, I just want to make sure I put the hashtag right. All right, I'm sharing my link on my pages.
Okay.
Okay, thank you all for joining us. As we get more people in, we'll be giving it a few minutes before we can officially start. But you're welcome to the Hangout. Today's Hangout will be, we have our guest as Namanya Brian, who is from Tubayo, and he'll be introducing himself a little later on. But just as we prepare to get started, just feel at Zoom, feel at 4040, just get ready, prepare for the session, really. Yeah, you're welcome. Valerie, I think we can start now.
Okay. Okay. Once again, good morning, everyone. My name is Valerie. I am an intern here at 40 Days Over 40 Smiles Foundation under the Fundraising and Events Department. So you are welcome to the Hangout. Thank you so much for taking time to be here with us today. We are going to be discussing the topic, setting up and sustaining businesses as young entrepreneurs. And we have the immense privilege of having the CEO and founder of Tubayo, Brian Namanya, with us. I guess you can wave to the crowd. Yes. I found this on the web. Sorry. So yes, I want to go through a little bit of house rules before we start. First of all, please make sure that all your mics are muted. If you'd like to leave your video on, that's well and good, but make sure your mic is muted. And then the second thing is, if you have any questions, either that may arise during the duration of the session, or perhaps a question you've always had about business or entrepreneurship, please feel free to put them in the chat section. If you're afraid people will see it, you can also send me a personal message and I'll be able to address that as we continue. We are going to, okay, the session is going to, we're going to have 35 minutes and then we shall use the other 25 for the Q&A. You're welcome. Yes, so I'm going to start off with reading your bio. I feel like you left some things out, but that's okay. I think you shall add on where I missed anything. So Brian started off with branding and printing, where he used his artistic eye to make sure clients' brands were well represented on paper. He later on joined Taxify, which most of us know as Bolt, and he enabled the company to grow to high numbers. Then he settled at Tubayo after a visit to Kenya for an East African conference under Ministry of Gender. Currently, he still works at Tubayo, where he's the CEO, and also Tubayo is Uganda's leading travel marketplace with amazing experiences and homes for people to list, discover, and book, while also providing extra revenue for its users. Have I missed anything out that you'd like to add on?
No, that's really good. Oh, I'm also a huge Whitney Houston fan.
Oh yeah. Yes, so Brad would like to inform me that he also likes music, mostly Whitney Houston. So yeah, in case you share the same interest with Brian. Give me a second. Okay, so I've been able to read your bio and also gotten to know more about Tubayo, you know, how you guys have been able to grow. I was able to see that Tubayo blog, which I honestly loved, that even Tubayo business where you showcase and support other local businesses. And then also your current partnership with Uganda Kingdom, the tourism board, by the congratulations on that. Like that's such a quite, like it's a huge milestone. So I was hoping we could begin this session by you informing us about your journey, right? From inception to where you are right now.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm so happy. Maybe it will start when I got the first message that they wanted me to be on the Hangout, 40/40 Hangout. You know, it was a very humbling moment because I remember sometime, I think 3-4 years ago, 2017, I was at some fellowship in town, the collective fellowship, and then I sat right next to a lady, you know, and so when they told us to pair up and, you know, talk about the miracles, this lady talked about how she had like gotten a miracle to like make things happen. She had been organizing an event and, you know, the finances were coming in slowly. And then one day she just put it before God and prayed about financing. And so that morning before she came for fellowship, she just walked into someone's office, talked to them about the event she was organizing, and they handed, I think it was about $1,000. So I was blown away at how like people handed $1,000, you know, but at that moment, it just hit me how much faith works and yeah. And so I remember getting very curious. I'm like, you mean you can organize something and people are touched and are very inspired by what you do? They end up giving you so much money. And that lady is Esther, founder of 40/40. I hadn't started anything back then, but I just remember following her up. I'm like, okay, this is really cool. The faith and love for the work she was doing. So now 4 years, fast forward 4 years now, and being invited to be on 40/40 Hangouts is like a great moment to me. But to start off, my childhood, I'd always been like told what to do, yeah. Though I was very curious and I liked creating stuff. You know, when I look back when I was little, I used to create these cars in wires. So I used to like do most of that stuff, yeah. And then I remember I joined Ontario school, and while in Ontario, that's when I fell in love with computers and what they can do. I had never used a computer. Well, I had seen them in computer lab, but I never used one. And right from S1, when I joined the computer club, I got so excited. And so I became friends with these, the computer club members, the guys who were heading that whole club. And they introduced me to Facebook. I remember being among the first people to join Facebook. That was around, I think, 2007, 2006. I joined Facebook and I was just blown away. You know, I got so obsessed. I would tell the lab attendant that I want you to create something like this for me. You know, I'm like, if someone can create this, imagine being, you know, that person that has created such a networking platform where people, you know, are interacting. You know, the whole idea of sending a message to like a girl in Gayaza, Mary Hill, and then they respond was just so cool. So that's when I got the love for internet and the net and networking. And then, well, I got through school, got to Budo in A level, but then I forget all about my love for that. It's now all about class and, you know, and society and the people we're studying with. These were, you know, sons of rich people, the ministers and all, basically the Budonians. And then I joined campus, still not knowing what I'm doing, but because of good grades, I just followed through. I'm like, okay, I will do an economics course. And then I joined development economics. You know, I didn't even know what that was, but I remember the lady via the registrar's office just told me economics is a good course. What I didn't know really what it was, but now I appreciate it so much. So they filled it out for me, and then that's how I joined economics at campus. And now while at campus, that was the turning point. I became friends with a mad guy called Don. If you've seen Catch Up around, that is the founder of the Catch Up app. He introduced me to Instagram. And he was these guys who were like super hands-on. He had bought a smartphone. He was among the first people to buy a smartphone because he was always in town doing things. Then even me, I joined branding and I also made some money to buy a smartphone. So we're among the first few guys with smartphones. Now, during the smartphone time, it was all about taking pictures. I would take these nice pictures, the selfies, you know, use the filters. And then I joined Instagram. He was also on Instagram. But now for him, he would only go there to look for motivation. You know, all these quotes that you see people posting, I think then it was just the beginning of like, if you fall down, look up and rise up. Things like, if you're ordinary, it's possible for you to become extraordinary. Those kind of cliche quotes. But back then, they were a big deal. And so that's all he did, like all the time. He would just be on his phone to read through stuff. And every time you were like in a moment and you needed like something inspiring, he would be quick to like, you know, cite a quotation by one of those guys. So I keep up with my pictures. I started tagging these foreign pages to repost me because I had seen them around. I think Nigerians were already ahead of us and the Kenyans. So I tagged these Nigerian pages. Some of these pages were very obvious, like maybe the hottest men in Africa, what. So I started tagging myself on those pages, but I would never be posted. And I would DM and send my pictures, but they would never post. And then one day it just hit me that, why are you stressing with these guys? You could as well create your own page. And that's how I created IG Uganda. IG Uganda was, I think, the first Instagram page, and it was really meant to showcase Ugandans because I figured if I can struggle to get featured on foreign pages, I could as well create mine and then post every Ugandan that needs to be posted. So IG Uganda is right there. It's on Instagram. I did that, and in about a short time, I had over 5,000 followers in about 3 months. Yeah, and to me that was a big deal because now I was so obsessed. I'm always on the phone. The followers are coming through. I started to feel like now I owned something. Yeah, that is what was differentiating me from like all the other guys in at campus and all. And so it started to hit me that if influencers like Kim Kardashian, you know, all these big personalities we follow are using their numbers, to influence, that means I have at least a fraction of that. Yeah, so that's when I started to feel like, I now started understanding what it means to have numbers. So from Instagram, I joined my dad to start doing branding because my dad had a printing and branding company, more of a tender company. I think we all relate to that. Our parents mainly did that kind of business where they bidded in government institutions, got contracts. There wasn't like a proper known, work that they were doing. So I just joined my dad to do branding. I found it fascinating because it was all about art. And then I had this quick thing of how to represent brands. If someone came to me with a business, maybe they're doing cakes, maybe it's a boutique, I would simply look up what is the best boutique company in the world, look at their branding, come look at this one, try to get their story, and then create text. I would benchmark off the best in the world. That was my trick with branding, and people were always blown away how you create great brands. Yeah, because I would see so many people at NASA. Just go through this whole brainstorming and trying to be creative, and then they end up mixing colors and all. Me, I would simply look at a brand like Versace or whatever, see that it's only playing with around 2 colors. So I would also help this boutique company brand with simply 2 colors. So that's how I got into branding, and I was doing great stuff, but the pay was very little and frustrating. And I remember when I researched more about how I could make it in branding, it got worse because I looked around the biggest branding companies in Uganda, and there is Graphic Systems. I'm like, that's privately owned. Okay, that's cool. And I looked at their net worth. It's about a few $1 million, about $1 to $2 million. That wasn't very inspiring because I'm like, no, I want to be really rich. I can't just be $2 million. Then I looked at New Vision, and that was a government institution. I'm like, so if you need to be that rich, either you're in government or you've been around for so long, which is Graphic Systems. They had been around for over 30 years. It wasn't inspiring to be around 30 years and just be $2 million. So I noticed branding wasn't for me. And it made sense when I even looked around the whole world. I'm like, what are the biggest branding companies in the world? Yeah, big companies that have branded for Coca-Cola, companies that have branded for, Apple. And still there was one that was about $400 million, but it had been around for over 150 years. I'm like, no, you're not going to build 150 years, to just be $400 million. So I knew that I was going to use it as an enabler, but not as a main business. Then it made sense to me when I looked around the richest men in the world, or richest people in the world, and the top 5 were all in technology and were dealing with like big numbers of people. And these were Facebook, Amazon, Alibaba, Tesla, all those guys. When you look at the customers they are serving over hundreds of millions. It just blew my mind. Here I was in branding, I would get 1 client in like 2 days, get probably 3 clients in a week. Guys are serving over 100 million people in 1 week, and they're doing it so smoothly. So I was blown away by that impact. And then I knew I had to get into the internet and serve the internet. And also the background of Instagram was so clear to me that if I have 5K people, I can determine what these 5K people are going to see today, tomorrow. So, I felt like I had something. So now I knew I needed the internet. So I had to decide on which sector do I start with. And when I made research still on which sectors were going to have strong advantages for Africa, for Uganda, travel was number 1. One, because it was the fastest growing sector. Travel before lockdown, travel was the fastest growing. Everyone was just traveling around, and it made sense because if our grandparents moved from like where they were staying to the trading centers, to simply shop and go back, our parents moved from trading centers, school, Kampala, back to the villages. Eventually, they got like an opportunity to fly to 1 or 2 countries. And then when you look at our generation, guys have traveled to 3, 4 countries, even before they're 25. So I knew it was just on upward growth. And also, so I knew that was definitely growing. And travel was fascinating in a way that when I remembered when we were little and were told that we had a trip, that would be the most exciting time. If you are in school and you're late comer, that time you wake up early to make sure you're there and in time for the trip. So I knew we all had that in us. and we were still excited about travel, but we didn't have the opportunity to book or discover things to do or even afford them. So it made sense to get into travel. So yeah, so I decided on the internet, I decided on the sector, and then that's how I started Tubayo. So that's really the brief. And fast forward, I think we launched in 2019. That was when our website went up. And also after the launch, we thought we would simply get excited because that made sense to me. If the Americans are already doing this, the Asians, people in Europe are already, online and they're booking, it made sense that everyone would jump on it first time. But people didn't do that. So for January 2019, we got our first client in April. And that month we made 4 clients. It was very exciting because we had finally gotten people to discover about something through the online platform. But it was so slow. It was so hard to convince my parents, convince friends that this thing is going to work, but we were very determined. And I remember then it was just me and the tech guys. And then my brother gets very excited about the idea. Most of you know him, Boris. He joins in later, even though he was still at school. And he helps with the awareness. Because I remember then saying, if people are failing to join us now, let us create these trips. And because I have an eye for detail and I see things, I remember being on Instagram and I was looking at the most liked pictures. And these were travel pictures, but I looked at the pictures in Uganda that were most liked. These were people who had taken with backdrops of like they have traveled. And one place that stood out was the Wild Waters Lodge in Kangulumira, Jinja. I remember saying, if we make a trip to this place, that would be a good move for us. So having not traveled, because the last time I traveled was probably to Kenya, but it was like business stuff. But I had not been around like normal tours of let me just go to this place, maybe hike, look at the beautiful, lakes and all the people. I had not done that since childhood. So I just look up Wild Waters, get their number off the website. I call them up, tell them, hey, I want to come through and organize a trip to your place. And then they're like, okay, that would be nice. I'm like, so I asked them how much the price was. It was around $360. I could never afford that. I was very sure even the people, that I was going to market to were not going to afford that. And then they told me, but we have day visits, so it made sense. I'm like, if I can get guys to move to Wild Waters, take nice pictures, and then I use my Instagram, following to repost these pictures, tag Tubayo, beautiful pictures with, the way the rapids and all. I think that would be a move. So I did that. I then got the details for the trip. I packaged it well, put it up on Instagram to market. So I remember the first time we put it out, we didn't get anyone to book. And it was so like our efforts had gone to waste. We're out of money. We're trying to sell so to make some money to sustain the team operations that were going on. We didn't get any booking the first week. And then I decided I think I'm going to give it a second try. We put it up again. And this time I tried to put in more effort, put it on Facebook pages, put it everywhere. We get about 2 people that booked, I think it was like a Monday or Tuesday, and even made the payment. Now, these people, when they made the payment, we were so excited. We're like, we're going to fill up the other guys. We needed about 8 more people to make the proper economics of the trip. But the week went by and it was just 2 people. And so now I couldn't make it. I had no money to simply just fund the guys and they go. I called up and I lied to them. I don't advise on this, but I lied to them how there was another group that had inquired before and was filling up the entire van and they've made the payment. So I'm so sorry for you too. We're going to have to, refund the money. But then they had been excited about the pictures and all. Were like, we know how great that place is. I think it's fine. You keep the money. If you have another trip next week, we'll go on that. And so 1, I'm happy that, okay, I don't have to refund the money. But then 2, it's another task to prove that I can market that trip, which I didn't want to take on because that was my second time trying and it was failing. So, but the second trip, I'm like, I think I made a proper strategy. I'm like, we're going to now distribute to many more platforms. Everyone's going to know about it. I remember texting all my friends on WhatsApp, telling them to repost this group, repost the trip and all. And when we did that day of reposting of the 3rd week, we got all the remaining 8, and it was so fulfilling to put up a flyer with fully booked on our page. And that's how we made our first organized trip, to prove that Tubayo can market. Yeah, and since then, my brother Boris, and then he also brought in his friends, Drani, Alvin, Uza, Ronnie, all those guys who came in and brought in all these great ideas. And fast forward to August of 2019, we hit our first 100 people in 1 week. Yeah, that was a major one for us because not so many people had ever received over 100 bookings in 1 week. And after that 100 bookings in 1 week, we noticed we needed to do something more inspiring. So Uganda Airlines had just launched. So it quickly dawned onto me. I'm like, if everyone is bashing Uganda Airlines, yeah, they're serving Rolex. Yeah, the pilot will tell you, Peter, go with them, and you're all, I'm like, no, let's do something great about this. So we decided to design up a flyer called Fill Up Uganda Airlines. I don't know if some of you got the chance to see that. Well, we're going to design a trip to Mombasa and we fill up our own, aeroplane. So normally, if you want to fill up a plane, you go and charter it. It's about $30,000. They probably give you about 3-4 routes. We didn't have any of that money. Well, like for us, let's just put up a trip. If people book, we rush to Uganda Airlines offices and pay in the money. So we did that. And then we quickly noticed that guys were just excited to jump onto something they owned because this is Uganda and it's Uganda Airlines. Guys started retweeting, sharing everywhere. I would get screenshots that people in CAA are sharing that there's some company in Uganda that wants to fill up the Uganda Airlines. So it really went around and it helped build that kind of responsibility, that kind of value in people about Tubayo. And that's how we managed to pull off that trip. Well, we didn't fill it up because we hadn't chartered, so there were other bookings going on, but we had a big number that got onto the plane, and that was a major one for us. There's that picture where like most of them had, occupied the airplane sort of on our pages, and then we took the whole Tubayo cart on that trip. So, and after that trip, I remember we were very excited. We're like, this is really great. We're all on to like, what's next, what next? And that's how, when we started with the team, we noticed if we can do a fill up an aeroplane, that means we should get ready to, make a trip to probably Mars. And that's how the Mars thing came about. So now we are in plans and fulfilling everything that needs to be done to get that trip possible. So yeah, and then later on, we get into, people start to notice our work. They invite us for funding, and that's how Mastercard joined us. They had seen the work we were doing with the many youth and young people. That's how we got our first funding, and we used that to build our app. And then we launched our app in 2020. And since then, our app has been #1 travel app. Even when you go to App Store, go to Play Store, we are trending. We've been trending since our launch because of the value we give to the customers, and also because we are enabling so many people earn per week. When we sit back and when we are making conciliations and payouts, and we notice how we are paying over 100 people every month that are earning from Tubayo, it's very inspiring, and it just keeps us motivated to even add more people. And the goal is to now have over 20,000 hosts in Africa earning through the platform. And to date, we've launched in 10 African countries. We are in Kenya, we are in South Africa, we are in Nigeria, Ghana, Zambia, Rwanda, Tanzania, and we are improving access to trips. We are availing accommodation options for users, friends, families to easily plan trips, getaways, and go enjoy life, go enjoy and see what God has created for us. Yeah.
So Brian, that's so amazing. Actually, your story has covered most of the questions I had planned to ask. But so you mentioned about money a lot as you were talking about your journey, right? And for a lot of people who want to start businesses, money is one of the greatest factors. So how would you encourage someone that is trying to either set up a business or already has a business and they are struggling with raising capital?
Yeah. So about that, I will share it still with that story of mine. I remember while I was working with, still doing the branding, I was so broke. So one day I'm visiting my But I had the Tubayo dream already, you know. I had already decided, oh, I was going to get into the internet, but I didn't know how I was going to start, you know. But how I started is I just called up a family friend of ours. He's called Jordan. He started, you know, the foundation of Tubayo, the tech platform. So how I started, called up Jordan. We sat at home on the dining table because he had the tech background. I simply told him about this. And the first thing was we developed a website. So he used the WordPress theme, and in about 3-4 hours, we had the website up, non-functional, couldn't edit anything. It was just one page. When you click it, would probably shut down or go off. But we had the website. So with Jordan, we were able to create the website and also pay for the domain. I remember, I think I had close to probably just 50K on my account, and that was enough to buy the domain. I didn't care if I was running broke the following day. So we bought the domain, had that website up. That's how Tubayo started as a page. But I was still the same guy who was walking on the street to go do branding, quickly get on a border to go deliver business cards, get some flyer options. You know, I was still doing that stuff. And then I visited my brother at campus, Nana. So as I was planning to do the usual, going back home, use a taxi, he tells me, hey, don't bother with the taxi. There is this new border, smart border app that is around town, and borders are cheap. They're only 1K to wherever you're going around town. I was in shock because border guy is one, never wants to be cheated. He doesn't care. He can just hold you and fight right away, even if it meant, giving you time to probably look for money and repay him. So, and then I was curious, but he told me, just try it. He downloaded the app for me and ordered a Taxify border. So I remember it got me from Nana Hostel to the park at just 1K. And so I was now curious. And when I paid the guy 1K, he was okay. Even said, hey, thank you. What? I'm like, yeah? What do you mean you can only take 1K? He tells me, hey, Ghana, to promotion, you pay me 1K, Taxify pays me twice the money I've been paid, which is 2K plus this 1K. So he has 3K from a trip that would normally be 2K. So he has made money, made the customers, made a saving. It was just so clear to me. I'm like, that means the whole company should be using this, you know? So I see an opportunity already. I'm like, because I have my Instagram page, over 5,000 followers, let me look for Taxify office, tell them how I have these 5,000 people, at least let them know about this opportunity so that they use your platform. Quickly, I looked for where the Taxify office is. I just Googled it. I saw a lead. They told me they're in Golobi. I ordered a taxi, got there, walked into their office. I'm in my jeans, and then I asked for the manager. I'm just random guy, t-shirt, jean. So they show me to the manager. I'm like, hey, I would love to get you more people to join Taxify. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I have 5,000 people on my Instagram page. I can, when I put up your ad, maybe people will discover and know about the opportunity that you have. And then he tells me, oh, come on, people already know about us. We just don't have enough borders. We're disappointed in so many customers who would love to use. So in my head, I'm thinking, borders? What company is full of borders? Everywhere you turn, there's a border. Those should be easy. And because I talked to the border guy, and the border guy had clearly outlined how he was winning, I knew for a fact that was also going to be easy for me. So I made my quick math. I'm like, if a normal border stage has about 50 people, I need 2 border stages. That's 100 people. And so if I do 2 border stages per day, I need 10 days to do 1,000. So I quickly make the math for him. But because I knew I was not going to be that naive, I decided to buy myself more time. I told the guy I'll do it in 30 days. And then he laughed. So when he laughs, I'm going to, I'm like, I was even supposed to tell you 10 days. I've told you 30 days and you're laughing. Because the manager, I walk with them straight to the director back then of the whole Taxify office in Kampala. And he's like, hey, listen to this guy. He says he can bring 1,000 borders in 1 month. And guys, they laughed it off. But I noticed that is a value that they needed. This is something I've learned over time, that when you go to someone and you tell them the value they are looking for, it won't matter how crazy you sound. That is something they want. So they gave me audience. They listened to me. They're like, you know what? Show us how you're going to do it. So I explained that approach to them. I'm like, a simple border stage at home has about 50 borders. I just need 2 per day to make 100 over 10 days. That's 1,000. And if that approach does it or is working and may not achieve that kind of result, borders have circles, many members. Those guys save 10, 20, K per day. I'm like, I could just simply go to the circles, talk to them about formalizing and organizing their industry, having decent, because Taxify borders, just like Safe Border, were seen as more responsible riders. So it was so clear to me that everyone would welcome this. And besides, it's a win-win. Like they're making much more money, even the customer is saving more. That's how they decided to give it to me. But they didn't pay me like a salary. They told me, you know what, prove to us you're going to do it, and for every border you do, we're going to give you 30K. I was in shock. I'm like, 30K. So 1K, that means 30 million. Already I was seeing money. I'm like, if I can pull off this in 10 days, I have, 30 million shillings. So we started to work. And I remember in the first week, we had about 200 borders, that was 6 million. I had shifted from someone with simply just 20K, 30K, keeping the balance around 100K, 150, to now 6 million payout on Saturday. And that's how I got the money. But I kept at Taxify just to make more money. And the thing about Taxify, as we grew fast, the company didn't really adjust customer care to accommodate the fast growing numbers. That's why Taxify was growing like this, but there were some issues. And so when I noticed that, I'm like, we need to open a customer service center. And because I'd been making a lot of money, I could pay up rent for a house in Bogolovi just, for about 6 months. I could pay it up in 1 week. So I get a house in Bogolovi, pay up 6 months to create my own customer care center so that everyone keeps referring more borders to me and I get more money. But then the head office got to learn about that, and they were not happy with it. They're like, no, company policy, you don't just open up an office without informing any of us, blah, blah, blah. They're not happy. I'm like, no, this is frustrating because me, I want to keep moving, I want to keep getting more borders. And then I had my Tubayo dream. So it just hit me that if you're getting frustrated, just build your own thing where you're going to, do the right thing. If it's customers, serve them well. If it's creating a customer service center, create it. If it's creating great products for them, create it. So that's when I now go back to my dream that I had started. I had the website already, it wasn't functional, but the domain was there. Now I have the money to get guys to build. But the funny thing is, after 6 months, the landlord chases us out of the house. The money was all used up, no product, nothing. We still were having a product, but it wasn't functional, it wasn't ready to be launched. Yeah, but later on, we kept at it until we launched our product in 2019. So that's how we got the money to even build all those first steps.
Yeah, okay. So you have mentioned a lot about your support systems. You mentioned Brian, who is the COO, who I've got to know also. He is very energetic. You also mentioned someone that introduced you to Instagram. Now, I know also that support, of course, money is important, but also support systems are very essential. So someone has asked a question here, right? How do you deal with doubts from friends and family to support your big idea, considering the perceptions of the creative industry in Uganda? There's this thing of creative endeavors are just a hobby, and it can be hard to build your dream practically when nobody around you can see or at least accept your vision. So how would, sorry, and give me a second. Okay, there's this thing of creative endeavors are just a hobby, and it can be hard to build your dream practically when nobody around you can see or at least accept your vision, and you need support to build something. So you have mentioned a lot about how your friends, family, even family members were able to give you money. So how would you encourage someone that wants to start up their business or begin like entrepreneurship, but maybe negative comments from their family or friends are disrupting that?
Yeah, so about really people making that tough decision to get started. Now I can boldly say you have to get started. Yeah. Of course, you'll keep balance. You see, you'll keep serving two masters. You're on your creative side. You're probably on a career to help you keep face. Yeah, and you'll sort of be like a mediocre both. Yeah. Now, what happens is, the more you turn this side, you then start to see like the real friends who keep around you, and those who leave. It will later be inevitable that, you know what, all of them have left. I have my work that I enjoy. Let me keep at it. Yeah, and then when you keep at it, things then start to turn out. This is what I keep telling people. You just have to get started. It's taking a chance on the purpose and greatness that God has put in you. And also it's taking a chance on God. He put that in you. You didn't, you're not crazy to just keep thinking, why do I want to keep, doing this nice content on like, a particular field, or why do I want to start this business? So just get started and have faith. Now I know that when you commit and fully put in your all, people will appreciate you. It's a principle I relate, to. Let me give you context. When you see like a baby, a child trying to learn how to walk for the first time, they don't know how to walk, but you're just excited by them, catching onto things and trying to, crawl and walk. Even if they fall down, you even help them get up. That kind of thing of I've given myself there to walk, people are going to see that and they're going to take your hand. They're going to show you the right way to go. And so let's not have that fear. It's more like, who tells these babies that, hey, you will fall or you'll do what? They just have this thing in them that if I take that next step, I will improve, and then the world, the universe, God will get you someone that will hold your hand. Yeah. When we did that, when we decided we were going to go all out, we've seen that from so many people. That when I went all out of let me market this wild water strip the third time and go all out, I reached out to people and they were happy to repost and share, and then we made up some money to run that week. When we went all out, we were noticed by so many guys who were interested in the youth development, and they called us to apply for funding, which was almost predetermined that we have to give it to Tubayo because we've seen the work they're doing. So these people, I didn't know them. I had never walked into a MasterCard office. I don't know anyone, but they called you. So when you want to do something, just decide and put in your all. Be that little baby trying to walk for the first time, and there will be someone to give you a hand. That person will always come.
Yeah. Okay. So we have mentioned Tubayo a lot, right? And I remember Boris told me the story behind why you got your name. I was hoping you could also share that with people and also help them approach how exactly they could get names for their brands.
Oh, so about naming a brand, I'm really passionate about Africa. I think we are such a great continent with great people, great identity, So that was one of the main reasons. And because I'd been doing branding and printing before, I was so confident in that. Yeah. So I noticed if all these big companies are going to have, the English names, Amazon, eBay and all, Facebook, we needed a native name that if people saw, they would know this is an African brand. Yeah, we normally tell people if the Americans are proud to have Amazon, the Europeans probably have Versace and all, Asians have Alibaba, Africans are going to have Tubayo, a local native name, a Bantu name, that if a Kenyan hears Tubayo, there's a Kenyan who takes it and like, Tubayo means over there in Kenya, in Samru or whatever. I'm like, wow, at least, they have a belonging with this name. And that was the purpose of getting a name. That when we finally get to that table, a seat at that table with those guys, when they're introducing their companies, we'll be happy to mention a name they will never forget. And yeah, so that's how we came up with the Tubayo, a word in Bantu to mean we are there. And this was to really represent the business we're doing, which was the internet business. Because we noticed a physical business serves only working clients, but if you do the business online on the internet, you will serve everyone. There are no boundaries. You can serve in Asia, in America, so like we are going to be all over the world. And that's how the word Tubayo came about.
Okay, so we are about to run out of time, but I was hoping you could tackle 3 questions. Someone has asked, what skills from your past experience have been of great importance in starting your business? I know you hinted on that before. You talked about branding where you worked with your father, and then you talked about earning money from Taxify. But I was also hoping you could just hint on this for the person that asked.
So one of the things I appreciate now is team, relying on a team. There was that old joke that it's a bad joke, but it's the cheerleader effect, yeah, where people look so beautiful because they're in one group, yeah. Also, with the team, it helps cover up for all our faults. Like, you're not going to wake up motivated every single day. But it's not possible that if you're 3 people, 4 people, that all of you are going to be sad on one day. No. And what happens with a business? A business is daily work. Yeah, people need to be feeling that energy, that good vibration coming from the work that you're doing. And so what a team does, if I'm feeling low, Boris is not feeling low, he's feeling excited. If Boris is feeling low, Drani is excited. If Drani is not feeling, Kind is excited, Prima is excited, Arvin is excited. All together you won't be able to notice there's something wrong with Tubayo. And so we keep at it. So the team is it's so underrated. And when I use the Bible as reference, it just even gives me confidence to rely on it. Today, the gospel of Jesus is all over the world because of just 12 disciples. Were they 12? But yeah, the disciples, yeah. Jesus knew that he had to rely on a team to do that. And so even me, from all the work, I encourage whoever works with Tubayo to build a team. If I started it off, got some people, those people are also getting people under them. Even those people under them are getting people under them. That way you are able to do great work. And the fact that it's now no longer just about you, it's about the other people as well. It gives you more responsibility in how you're doing your work. The money I'm earning is not only going to go to me. Let me see how we make money collectively as a group. It just really shapes your thinking, shapes the way you want to position your company. But team to me has been like the ultimate strategy or skill. So growing a team is such a big, big deal, really. And we'll keep growing while you're keeping.
Yeah. Into rich Mars, surely. So I know the pandemic, with the onset of the pandemic last year, a lot of businesses were affected, not just businesses, education, health, and all of that. So I wanted to know, how were you both you and your team, how are you able to manage the pandemic? What challenges did you face, and what did you learn from that period?
So the pandemic, I'll say 2 things. One, because we had given our all to our work, to Tubayo, we saw a hand of God. The first funding we received came in right before the beginning of the pandemic. We were people who were simply working, making trips per week. I think we were the first guys to introduce weekly trips. And the reason we did this was for us to be having money every week, not because it was like a fancy fun thing. No, it was because we're making little. We're, I think, making about 400K per week. And we're like, if we do this weekly, we'll have at least money to run operations. And we're barely surviving. We're all taking very little, just making things work. Yeah. And so you take it, putting lockdown and us not working was going to be the end of Tubayo. But then we saw the hand of God when people invited us to apply, and it came in right before lockdown. We got money. So this helped us to just keep working. So one, we were lucky, and it was just grace and favor that we had the money to sustain throughout lockdown. But the other thing is it was also attitude. We noticed, okay, now we can't travel. This is something we're enjoying. People were getting excited, jumping on every week. What are we going to do? We decided we're going to channel all this energy we're doing with customer servicing. If you're having 50, 100 people booking per week, it takes so much time. You have to, and because we're starting, our systems weren't very complete and built out. So you have to talk to every client. You'll find the whole day you're doing just customer service. So lockdown was one helpful because we stopped doing that and focused more on the technology. So we got all our, energy and diverted it to let's build an app so that by the time lockdown is out, we have an app. And out of lockdown, we're able to launch our app on Play Store, and then much later in the year, we launched the iOS app. That was last year, 2020. So for us, and also because it just made sense that people now have to rely on digital, for us, it was really an opportunity to prove the product we're building and also the value that we're going to give to the many Ugandan businesses. And I think so many people, if they change their attitude, lockdown has really opened up an opportunity where they can get to cut on the unnecessary operation expenses. Having an office in the middle of town for a startup in Uganda, and also looking at our economy, cut all those costs, get online, meet the people there. There are much more people there. In fact, you do more customer servicing than traffic, driving to office, sitting there, and So I think to us it was really an attitude where we decided this was an opportunity for us to build the technology that we're going to use and prove the opportunity in travel.
So we know that Uganda is one of the biggest countries on entrepreneurship, right? But there's lack of information on how businesses can, stand the test of time, like make it beyond even 5 years. So what steps do you think you would encourage someone? A second. Yeah, so what steps would you encourage business owners, to exceed like their 5th birthday?
So I think I've noticed for this time we've been around, it's all about the goals and vision you said. Yeah. And so you have to be true to that goal. And there are really obvious things. Most people really work to just, start servicing and making money, that very week, which is fine. And I think that's one of the best practices in businesses. But the other thing I've noticed, having a goal and a vision will take you a long way. Will take you through all these small challenges that come around, COVID, policies, just the goal and vision. So to last 5 years, one, you need a goal that can last more than 5 years. Yeah. And then you need to think on it. It could be like, okay, 5 years, that means we would want to be here. We would want to have these kind of assets as a business, have this many people. What does that mean financially? And then you start to plan all those things. You're like, okay, if it's money, we need a minimum of what? 200,000 US dollars to last 5 years. If each year we're spending 100 million. So you as a founder then start to think, you condition your mind with the goals you've set. If you don't set your goals, you're going to just be working around only the short-term goals that you're having, which is, let me make my product and serve these customers who are required. Then next week I serve the next customers who are required. But it's time to get out of that. First think long-term and then come back. And when you think long-term and they plan of, okay, we'll need at least 700 million. Then you start to switch your mind, be like, where do we get 700 million right now? What kind of value do we have to give that will bring that kind of money to us? Then that way you get the resources to sustain you. So even when your business doesn't make money, there's like resources already that, and that's how all these big companies do. So I think the challenge is to most Ugandans is to really invest in, in knowledge, but one hack I can give about that is follow and have mentors. They may not necessarily be personal where you can have their number, just simply have a guy you look up to and you're following them up, checking on their YouTube, see what they are commenting. Very soon you're going to start to think like them, think like those people you want to be like. And before you know it, you are like them or even get better. So having mentors just that alone, having mentors can help, can sustain the business beyond 5 years. Most businessmen here in Uganda or startup entrepreneurs know it all. And that's why after 2 years, they are shifting to another thing, I can confidently tell you, I think every business can grow, whether it is pancakes, whether it's like every business has opportunity to be $1 billion business and grow. That's my thinking. So 2 things, have someone you're following, have a goal. That person you're following, you will see how they've managed to build their business. They can probably share, reach out to them once in a while. Let them point you in how they've got financing for their business. Let them point you in how they've managed to grow their market distribution from selling to just a few people. How are they selling across borders? How are they selling to 5? People who are doing that in Uganda. Yeah.
Okay, so we have exactly 5 minutes, but I was hoping we could tackle one question. In the beginning, I was talking about Tubayo business, where you showcase where you showcase local businesses and support them. So someone was asking, could you briefly explain how exactly it works?
So Tubayo businesses is, I'll be open to people. It's a marketing strategy. It's when we sit with the team and ask, how should people feel about Tubayo? We want them at the core to feel love, to feel work, to feel support, to feel greatness. And that's why when we do great stuff, we're inspired. We know that there's people there that are having now the hope and faith that if Tubayo can do it, people who have been seeing and have known, if they can do it, we can do it. And that's our thinking. We know if we can do it up to here, I know 80% of Ugandans can do it. And so we want people to feel that way. we noticed marketing wasn't really about design an ad, put it up on social media, put up on a billboard if you have money, or TV. Marketing to us then becomes, what do people feel about you when they see the brand? Do they feel support? Do they feel love? And these are things we've learned from the great companies, from Nike, from Apple. When you hold the iPhone, how do you feel about this phone? It's trust that this thing is going to work. It's trust that it has been built so well. So when you see Tubayo, first we decided we're going to win with love. We're going to love on people. We're going to appreciate great work, and we're going to put in the work ourselves. So those are the two values we want to push. And so when we see small business people building, we want to hold their hand. We want to show them out to the numbers that we build, So we are ready to do that because that's how we want people to feel about us. And if we can help them grow, we also think they will make more money when they get in front of so many users. And if they make so much money, if they make the money to travel, I think they will think about Tubayo, and it will be a win-win for everyone, really. So yeah, that's why we do it.
Okay, so if like let me
yeah,
sorry,
how it
if
works,
let me say
oh. So how the Tubayo for business works, you simply DM our social media pages, Tubayo Travel. There will be a brief for you, to guide on how you're going to present your video, which mainly talk about your business, the value you're giving to customers, and the price for your products, and maybe contact. And it's free of charge. There's no one at Tubayo that's charging for that. And we are very happy to keep posting and sharing many videos. And we think Tubayo is not just about us and travel, but it's also about other people. Like Tubayo is now one family where, guys are getting in. We see guys posting us on their pages. So yeah, it's really how we give back to fellow business people.
Thank you so much, Brian. So our time is fast spent, but thank you so much for taking us through and sharing your journey. As you said before, Esther was a very important part of inspiring you to start. So we are glad that here at 4040 we could give back to you, so that you could share your story, as well as encourage other people. So someone asked where you can get the Tubayo app. Well, I got mine from Apple Store, so I guess you can also go there, or even Google, right?
Apple Store, Google Play, Android.
Exactly.
Search Tubayo, just Tubayo, it will come up, and then you download it.
I think I will share the poster in case you want to get in contact with them. Give me a sec. Yes, so this is the poster. So in case you want to call them, their numbers are here. You can also email them, but you can also find them on their social media platforms. That's Twitter, Instagram. Are you on Facebook? I think you're on Facebook, right?
Meanwhile, we need to talk about how you're hosting on our platform and how you're getting customers and money.
Oh, me? That is for another day. But yes, my family is also part of Tubayo. So we have, these guys have really been amazing in customer care, in helping us solve questions, in helping us solve challenges. So all I can say is if you want to list your house on Tubayo, you should totally do it. We also get money, which does not really hurt you guys. We get money. So yeah. So I'm going to hand over to Mabel. I don't know if she is around. Yes, but as Mabel comes in, I would just like to give a special shout out to all the people that organized this. The team from 4040, that is, let me see, that is Eklas Wamala, Anita Ainembabazi, Humphrey, Nyakato Dorothy, Abel, and of course the lovely Mabel, who is our internship coordinator. And then I shall let her take it away from here. I don't know if she's on.
Yes, Valerie, I'm on.
Great.
Yeah, hi. Thank you so much for hosting, Valerie. You've done an amazing job. I was supposed to originally give a vote of thanks and wrap up this hangout on behalf of Esther, but Esther actually is on the call and she's available. So I will be inviting Esther to wrap up. Thank you for attending, everyone.
Thank you so much, Mabel. Let me do that usual introductory. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, now that I am properly settled in, good morning, everyone. I am so I don't even know what to say. Can people unmute themselves and give a round of applause? Because what is this? We have been blessed with knowledge for free. Um, okay, we have enjoyed enough. Now we can unmute again. We don't want to hear the chicken. You can mute, sorry. Thank you so much, Brian. For those who joined, I don't know, I would like to give a short story about how you just never know where you're going to meet someone. So it was probably almost 5 years ago that I met Brian. Well, he was like 18. I don't even know. He will explain himself. But yes, I met him with a friend at a fellowship, and they did that thing where they say, pray with your neighbor, and guess who my neighbors were? It was Brian and his friend. I took their contacts, and a few days later invited them to the 5-year 40/40 anniversary. Didn't these people come dressed like it was their party? I don't even know. So I am not surprised to see the energy that they are bringing to Tubayo. I am extremely, extremely proud of you guys. If you go on Twitter right now, I just logged on and I found Banaya. People are tweeting. This is what you call influence. So I would just like to thank you, Brian, for making the time, for sharing your story with us, and for inspiring the young people that are on this call. As some of us live this age of youth, we are glad to see that there are youth who are taking over, and looking forward to having even the next ones who will do the same. So I'm grateful to you for sharing your story very honestly and for being authentic in your journey. Thank you for not telling us that you started with a bicycle and then it grew up into a helicopter, and now you're taking people around the country. We appreciate. And all the lessons that you have shared, and of course, encouraging people to join, but also giving them an opportunity to make some money, but also to see the beauty that Uganda is. So we thank you for using your knowledge and your time to do something amazing, not just for yourself, but for the country at large. We know it's going to be a household name sometime soon, and we shall be like, hey, that's why even on our Hangout, they're our friends. Yeah, so thank you so much for giving of your time. You talked about how Jesus had his 12 disciples, and guess what? The rest of the world became influencers for him. He didn't have to do much. People were talking. So I would also like to give a shout out to your team, because usually we have a face, but we don't know the amazing people that are behind the scenes. And in the same vein, I would also like to thank my amazing, amazing team at 40/40 that continues to do the work, even in the middle of an apocalypse where things are falling apart. They're still showing up, they're organizing these events, and they're keeping motivated, and that inspires me to do more, and I know you're also inspired to do more because of the people that hold your hand. So thank you, everyone, and the people that have joined us. We truly, truly appreciate you spending the morning with us, and we hope that these lessons will be used in the business you're about to start, that idea that's poking you, but you're pretending to ignore, the one that you threw out 5 years ago. You can do it, and we are glad that you have heard from someone who made lemonade out of lemons during the pandemic. And yeah, we are. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Valerie. I'll hand back to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Esther. So in case you have a question, but you are too afraid to ask, that is fine. I think Brian will be able to answer your questions on his social media platforms. I guess send him a message, or if not, you can email Tubayo. I think, let me put the poster up again for those who have not taken a screenshot. Yes, you can email them here or send them a message and they'll be able to answer your questions. Mommy, please don't be afraid to call them. Like, they really want to, they want to impact people and transform communities. And also, if you want to have your business listed on Tubayo Business, please also do that. If you also want to have your home listed, I think homes go as, not just within Kampala, I've seen some in Mbale, Ginger, which other place? So yeah, they really reach far and wide. So if you have a home in the village and you like to earn extra money, please feel free to contact them. But I think that is it for today. I'd like to appreciate everyone that took time to come. I'd also like to appreciate Brian in a special way. Thank you so much for being here today. I think that's majorly it, right? So please feel free to leave at leisure. If you want to look at our beautiful faces, that's also very well and good. You can stay on the call and we chat. But otherwise, thank you so much for coming and have a great day.
All right. Blessings to everyone. Get the Tubayo app, follow 4040. Thank you, 4040, for the opportunity. Yeah, blessings to you. Wonderful